This episode of the Reppin' the State Line podcast with John, George, and Josh is sponsored by the Brodo Rockstar Group at eXp Realty. The home buying process is stressful, especially when it's your first time. The Brodo Rockstar Group is committed to giving you a stress-free experience while guiding you through the process from getting approved for a loan to getting the keys on closing day. Let their team treat you like a rock star. To book an appointment or to search all available properties in this state line area, visit buywithbroda.com.
We're back,
all
baby.
Right. Oh, he jumps ahead all the time on me. Yes, we're back.
Every week.
Welcome to this week's amazing episode of Reppin' the State Line podcast with John, George, and Josh. As you can see, there's four of us here today. We have a great friend of ours, a pillar of the community. He's from Michigan, though. So he's a Michigan State or Michigan, which one? Yeah, Michigan State fan. So yeah, Ryan. Woohoo! Oh yeah, look, here we got our guy throwing up.
Go Hawks!
Hawks there.
Go Hawks.
I don't know. I'm more of like a St. John's Redman kind of guy. Red Storm now. But that's it. You know, Queens, New York. You got to stay with St. John's. But
hey, I do think though.
I'm introducing our guest. Stop.
I know, but before we introduce them, I think it's crucial. Sorry, Ryan. I think it's crucial to say thank you to everybody that has listened to our storm video that we had. We've had a lot of people reach out, and a lot of people started getting interested in what we have been doing here at Reppin' the State Line podcast with John, George, and Josh. So from all of us, we do want to say thank you so much for listening, calling us, asking questions, allowing us to point you guys in the right direction. It really does mean a lot, and that's why we're here. So I wasn't trying to steal Ryan's thunder. I just think that was a huge thing that we needed to point out right away.
No problem. I do appreciate that. And yes, thank you, everyone. You guys have been amazing. The outreach of people that have reached out just asking, how do I go about doing a claim where it's not going to mess up my insurance now, has been just enough. And just thank you, everyone. But back to our guest, Ryan Monette. Let's see here. You were board of directors for the State Line Chamber of Commerce. You were past president of the State Line Chamber of Commerce. You are now on the board for the Rockford Public Library. Is that correct?
Rockford Public Library Foundation.
You're on the board there. You are one of the top advisors at Savant Wealth Management right here in Rockford. And you're also one of our good friends. Ryan Monette, welcome to the program today.
Wow, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, George, do you have anything, or did you freeze? I don't know what happened.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. I mean, you guys are just rolling with it. So,
well, sorry, we don't want to we got to keep George going.
Josh had to step in right away because he didn't want me to bring up the Big Ten championship this past year between the Wolverines and the Hawkeyes. So,
hey, go Hawks! Go Hawks, baby!
Yeah.
Dude, the Hawkeyes had like the world's worst offense I've ever seen in college football history this last year. They couldn't
and
their defense was amazing, but they were
still top five defense. I don't want to hear it. Still top five defense, dude. We have a reinvented offense now.
Sure.
You guys better watch out.
And their girls basketball, basketball team did a phenomenal job this year,
dude. Runners up.
But I mean the Hawkeyes do have a good football program, but they are 12-40-4 against the Wolverines all time. So that's
you did stat.
Somebody
anyone out there fact check that?
I will have that. Yes, we will fact check and make sure that's in the comments. Good. Wow.
So before we get off the rails on our podcast, we always kick it off by what we did this past week since we last aired our episode from last week. Last week was a good one. The Wings episode. Let's start with you, John. What did you do this weekend?
Oh no, what did I do this weekend? Well, what was this weekend? It was the 15th. Yeah. I did not much of anything. I It was actually a
We-
beautiful weekend. So we sat out on the deck this time. We didn't travel anywhere. We didn't go anywhere.
Was that
my-
was this the weekend that you sent us the video of you serenading us and your emoji? That
Yes.
was-
Yes.
That
Wait,
was
so
awesome.
you guys decide to sit at home and drink the 14 cases of wine that you have just sitting
Yes.
there
Yes.
instead
We
of going out
decided
and buying another case of wine?
We
Time to buy
decided-
some more wine.
we have to go buy more wine. But yes, on occasion, it's a lot nicer to just sit here and enjoy the home that we worked so hard to build. So we
Less
have
the
a
missing
beautiful
trees
back-
in the backyard.
Yes, the missing trees have been it's horrible. I need to come up with some kind of like sunshade now because those trees used to block, and now at a certain time of the day, the sun is just beating on there, and you can't sit there.
I wonder if Jenny could print you a tree background that you could hang.
Like,
I'll have her
like a green
take a
screen?
picture of the woods, and then we'll
Yeah.
have somebody put it on onto a screen that I hang
Yeah.
up so it looks like they were but yeah, we had the fire pit running, got some pizzas and just drank some wine and sat outside and just enjoyed it. So it was not a crazy day. But this week it's gonna be nuts. We have prom for Hononegah High
Uh-oh.
School, and my daughter's going to prom. So yep, it's gonna be fun. She technically finished high school in February, but she's not graduated until they walk down the aisle in May. So she's working and hanging out and going to prom. And I just can't believe you guys will know this eventually with your daughters. They're all younger, but she put on her prom dress and I'm like, oh my God, when did you become an adult? I mean, it's like, and I'm thinking like wedding down the road and other stuff, and it's just freaking me out. So, but yeah, she looks amazing. Her boyfriend, James, is taking her, and he's a great guy. So he's working hard, got a bright future ahead of him. So I'm excited for the two of them.
Well, congratulations.
That's all we got
That's
going
cool.
on. How about you guys?
What did I do this weekend? Oh, I had the well, mine was kind of a somber weekend. I know we talked about last week. My daughter is in the studio, and the studio puts on performances. They have plays that they put on for all age groups. And this one, I was so proud of her. She went to every practice, didn't complain, got up, 6 o'clock, going to school, had practice from 6 to 8 p.m. every day this last week. And she performed on Friday, Saturday. And Friday, nobody went to her performance other than like her parents. But all the family, friends, everybody had tickets for Saturday's performance. Saturday morning, she wakes up sick and vomiting and fever, missed the performance. So she was devastated. It was a rough weekend. Turns out that she's got strep and another virus that we're learning about today. We're still waiting on news. So it was a stressful weekend, a bummer, disappointing weekend. What was supposed to be an amazing weekend celebrating her performance turned out to be us sitting at home.
It's horrible.
But yeah, that was my weekend. So shout out to the studio, man. They put on phenomenal programs. Really get kids some kids love sports, and there's a lot of sport things. Some kids love theater, and this is it. My daughter's
What studio is it,
absolutely.
George?
It's the studio here in Rockford. It's called the Studio. It's down by Cherry Valley, is their location. And I believe it is, it's just called the Studio Rockford is the name of it. And they have all age groups, and they have auditions first. They do callbacks. And then if they get a part, then they have practice that start off usually as, 2 or 3 a week. And then the week of the show, it becomes a daily dress rehearsals, the whole bit. And it's really, they love it. So she's already excited, signing up for Moana's the next one that they're doing. And she's definitely doing it because she missed this one. So
Awesome.
That was my weekend. How about you, Josh?
Oh, my weekend was interesting. And it might be an unpopular opinion, right? But I was in New Orleans, and I don't know if I'll ever go back. That place is a crapshoot.
Okay.
It's not like the state line here. We're so awesome.
No, I went for a bachelor party. We had a lot of fun. There was 14 of us. The problem was it's really dirty. It smells like urine. There's homeless people everywhere. Our group was so large that like we could barely ever do anything together, if that makes sense. Like we could never all go out to eat together. We could never do it. It was just, and I don't know if it was just because our group was so big or what, but there's a lot of like, I don't know if you heard about this, George, but like every Uber that we get into, everyone's like, be careful, don't go east, don't do this, make sure you have limited cash and cards in your pocket. Like people just like pickpocket you and like,
Yeah, when we checked into the hotel when we got there, they said, "Do you have a car?" And we didn't because we Ubered. But they're like, "Okay, because we have our own indoor garage. You don't want to park in any of the lots outside. It'll probably be broken into." We're like,
right. It's
"Okay."
just, you're just like
Yeah.
on edge. Like you're on edge 24/7, right? And I'm not a huge person that gets anxiety. I'm usually pretty good. And I was just like anxious walking up and down Bourbon Street the whole time.
Kept checking
And
your
like,
pocket.
yeah, I was kept constantly checking my pockets, making sure I had everything, and then like our Airbnb was like east in like not a good area. And Saturday, last night we were there. We got back and we had like a gate that you could fit like a car through that we came in and out of to the house, and it was like locked and everything. Someone screwed hex screws into it and nailed it shut, so like we couldn't open the gate. Just like, what I mean, just it was fun just because I was with a lot of my buddies, but it's a place that I don't know if I'll ever go back. The only positive thing is we enjoyed the casino. We went to the casino a lot. They had a sports book there. It was a Caesars sports book. So we sat there and watched a lot of sports, bet on a lot of sports, bet on the fights, stuff like that. But I was really excited to be home Sunday. So
Yeah.
that was my weekend. And then this coming up weekend, Mason has a baseball tournament. So baseball season's started and kicking off and going full fledged. So
Gotcha.
In my opinion, you probably could have went to Dubuque, went to the casino and sportsbook there, had a better time, and not have been worried about all those things.
100%.
So, how about you, Ryan? What did you have going on this past weekend?
I'm glad you asked, because if you didn't, I was going to tell you anyways. I had a great weekend. Normally weekends are spent catching up on work a little bit. But this weekend wasn't too much of that. It was actually a lot of fun. On Saturday, my son Liam, he's in theater as well. That's why, George, I was asking you. But he had his practice and my daughter had her dance practice, and we all got back, and I had a ton of yard work to do. And one of my good friends, Scott, he actually asked if I wanted to join him and bring Liam with him and his son Reese to go to the I don't know if it's called the Beloit Rifle Club, but he's a member there. And so he brought some of his guns, and we went and he taught my son how to shoot a gun, a rifle and a handgun and a pistol. And I had shot before, but it was kind of new to me too. So I got to do that. And so we were at a target range and got to shoot at different, little metal decals of, pigs and roosters and things like that. So it was like the Wild West. It was pretty fun. And then we came back and went to my house, and I told him, well, I still have my yard work to do, so come on over and help me. And then we started off by lighting my forest on fire. And so you guys know we have 3 acres of forest, and there's a ton of leaves on the ground. So we just said, let's just start here. And we lit it on fire, and we just watched it spread, and we were careful. We had rakes and beer, and made sure that nothing bad would happen. And so so we did that. We stood outside, and then we ordered Chinese food, and his wife Adriana and daughter Amelia came over, and we had a nice little time with the kids playing and eating and spending some time. Like the 3 of you guys get together on occasion, and obviously outside of this group you have good friendships, and so that's what we did.
That's
Where'd you get
awesome.
Chinese from?
What's that?
Where'd you get the Chinese food from?
You know what? They ordered it. I picked up the tab this weekend, but I think it was from, oh geez, I feel bad not repping the state line, but it's from the Chinese restaurant, I believe off Prairie Hill, by the South Beloit High School across the street.
Okay, Happy Walk.
I think so.
Yeah, that's
and
where we go all the time.
yeah, it was great. Scott actually said, "Oh, I always get this one thing," and I couldn't tell you what it is. And I said, "Well, get me that too," and it was excellent. So we had a hodgepodge of different things: orange chicken, of course, crab ragoons and things like that. But yeah, the food was great. So there you go, repping the state line.
Yep. One of the owners there, it was funny. We ordered Chinese food from Happy Walk maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and I went in and picked it up. And the lady behind the counter, I think she's one of the owners, she goes, "Is your wife Venice?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "My daughter said to say hi. She's working in the back. She used to be on Venice's gymnastics team like 10 years ago, but she recognized the last name, and that's why she had to ask." I was like, "Oh, wow." She's like, "Yeah, tell Venice we said hello. We miss her." I was like, "Okay." So yeah, they're just great people. I mean, that location has been there forever, and it's a staple of South Beloit. And that's where we go. We drive all the way over there to get Chinese food. So
Yeah, every
I
time
don't know,
we
man.
that's where
You're
we go.
right. You're right next to probably some of the best Chinese food in town. I
Who?
don't know why. Huh?
Who?
China
Which-
Palace.
Well,
I've
yeah,
never
if I'm
been to
gonna,
China Palace.
I go to China Palace if I'm gonna go have a sit down at the restaurant and eat there, because that's right next to Mactown.
Oh
And
God.
it's really
You ever
good.
had China Palace, Ryan?
You know what? I haven't had China Palace. That's in Rockton, right?
Oh,
I've never
God.
heard of it.
It's incredible.
You know what? We'll do a lunch there. There
All
you
right.
It's
go,
incredible.
George. We will do lunch
Deal.
there so George can experience it. And Ryan,
Deal.
you're welcome to join us for that lunching.
Send me the text message. I'll join the group.
All right. So we got Ryan here today. You're with Savant Wealth Management. So you're a financial planner, correct? And
Yeah.
you help, like, so in a nutshell, for people that don't know what you do, what do you do?
Yeah, I guess at the highest level, really what I look to do is get to know people, kind of figure out what their vision is for the future, no matter how far out that is, what their age is, if it's they're young professionals, how far out that might be, or if they're, getting ready to retire or in retirement, might not have that much in front of them as they do behind them. So, but still, nonetheless, we all have goals as individuals and families. So, my primary responsibility is to identify and help figure out what those goals are, and look at look at their financial plan, look at different areas of their life, whether it's life insurance, their estate plan, maybe they're planning for education for a kid or grandkid. I'll look at their debt, I'll look at their tax situation, review their investments. And so, my primary objective is, at the end of the day, try to, take advantage of any opportunities that exist in their financial life, try to reduce any risks, eliminate any dangers that might take place when you look at what I call the 10 key areas of financial planning. And that's essentially, in a nutshell, what I do. And then it's, once you, kind of build the plan, then you have to monitor it regularly, because life changes. It throws us curveballs. The three of you, most certain, have dealt with issues in your life where you were going in one direction, you're, feeling like you're on top of the world, and all of a sudden someone kicks you in the gut, punches you in the gut, you're knocked down, and then
100%.
life kind of changes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so you kind of have to go back to the plan and say, okay, this happened and I had to do this as a consequence of that. How do I get back on track now? And that's why, people in the community, hire a company like Savant, not only to stay on top of things, the laws, for example, all it takes nowadays is Congress to get together and sign a document to change the tax rules or the estate laws, and stay on top of that stuff, but also just to meet regularly with our clients, to stay in front of them and make sure that if there is one of those significant changes, that we're, adapting to what's going on in front of us and pivoting and changing the plan, so that, at the end of the day, it's still as close to a straight line for you to get to your goals, rather than some kind of, curvy line that's going to take you much longer.
All right. So a lot of people I know think you need to be at a certain place to talk to somebody like you. So you talk to anybody, though. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to have like a ton of money to invest, like, to get advice from somebody, correct? Like, how does it go? How does it go about, like, if somebody says, "All right, I I'm newly married or just had a kid or we're just starting our lives out, that'd be like the top person to start talking to start planning for that future, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I just had someone reach out today that's in that situation. Married, I think about 2 years or less. I think at least one child at this moment, and yeah, they want to meet and talk. And it kind of came about because I met with actually their sibling, and who was also a young professional. And yeah, I mean, I guess to answer your first question, it's I talk with everybody because good, bad, or indifferent. I don't really think about who I'm meeting with as an opportunity to make money. I look at it as an opportunity to help somebody. I mean, just being so
Right.
vested in the community that you do things out of the kindness of your heart because you feel like it's the right thing to do. George, you and Josh, you guys have skill sets that a lot of people don't have. And so for you to share that, and provide that value, whether you're going to get something out of it or not, kind of call it the duty that we have. And so I look at it similarly. It's the duty. I have a skill set that not a lot of people have. It's not rocket science. People can go out and get this skill set and they can study hard to be on top of their game and have it. But they have other priorities in life. They have different specialties that they're interested in. And so, this is my skill set. So this is what I do to go out and help people in the community. And sometimes I am rewarded by that, not only through relationships but also through having clients hire me to be their personal financial advisor and financial planner. But I guess getting back to the original question, yeah, I meet with anybody. Sometimes it doesn't turn into a relationship because we do have minimums here at Savant as far as starting off with an actual relationship. But I was sharing with you before we started recording today, I took an opportunity for the first hour or the last hour before this to reach out to 4 to 7 different people that I've met with in the past over the last couple of years and just said, hey, it's time to reconnect. None of them are clients, but the young professionals, and I want to see them become successful. And I think it's great working with retirees. I love it. I got a lot of retirees as clients who built a lot of wealth, but I also think it's fun working with young professionals because in a way, like the four of us here, like we have a vested interest in wanting to see each other be successful, and not because we're friends, but outside of friendships, like when you see someone else that's in the same stage of life as you are, like you want them, you're kind of rooting for them,
Right.
because just like you want them rooting for you. So working with young professionals, I think is a little bit more exciting in my opinion, just because again, you get to almost see more of their success over their lifetimes rather than a retiree who also gets a lot of value from us, but you don't get to see as much of that success because they've already demonstrated that through just hard work and savings and earnings and things like that.
All right. Well, thank you.
Fair enough. I got a question for Ryan. So what made you, or was there a specific point in your life that you said, you know what, this is what I want to do with my life, and that's be a financial planner? I'm now 40, as everybody knows, because of our 30, 40, 50 season. But when I first started out in my career, I had no idea. I was in finance. I went into started as a personal banker, and I excelled at it, not because I was gifted in or I was very gifted in numbers, but also gifted in sales. And I like to talk to people. I'm very good at it. I have no issue talking to anybody. I'm not afraid of it. And a lot of people don't have that skill set. And once I got to the top of when I was at JP Morgan Chase at the top of the what do they call it, President's Club, I pretty much had every facet of banking come to me and ask if I wanted to be a financial advisor, a business banker, branch manager, mortgage broker. And for me, it was a decision of, I went with the path that everybody needs a mortgage. It's not a hard sell. It's more selling yourself. And that I felt that was a really good skill set that I had. I'm very personable. I'm easy to talk to. So that's the reason I chose that. And that's literally the way I made my decision. I said, financial advisor, I know everybody needs a financial advisor or planner to plan for their retirement. Not everybody understands that they need that. Business bankers, same thing. Businesses come and go. It's difficult. You don't really get to build many relationships when businesses are coming and going. And branch manager, I didn't want that responsibility. I chose my passion, which was the mortgage world, because I think that it's something everybody pretty much needs. That I don't have to sell somebody on a mortgage. It's more, do you want to work with me or not? So I want to hear.
What was the question?
The question was, what is there anything in your life, like what made you decide to be a financial planner?
Yeah, so you had so many years in the banking roles that you kind of had an opportunity to see a lot of it, and that helped kind of guide you into what you wanted to ultimately be or become as your career. Mine was similar to some extent, but I actually wanted to be a park ranger. People that are closest to me, my wife, Bridget, she knew as we were dating, like I wanted to go into environmental science. I wanted to be a park ranger. I don't care where. It didn't really matter. It wasn't really a thought. It was just I love being outside. I love nature. I was still big into recycling. I was on the board for Keep Northern Illinois Beautiful. So a little plug there, but really wanted to go down that path. And so I was taking classes at Rock Valley, and for some reason, I cannot remember for the life of me what happened, but I transitioned into business, and then I transferred over to NIU and got into their business, finance program. And I was fortunate enough. One day, my mom came to me and said, I'm counting offertory at church with Tawn Jacobs. She works at Savant. She said, I told her what you're interested in. You should send in your resume. So I did, and I landed an internship. Proudly, I was hired as an intern because I was the only candidate to get up and stand and greet the front desk lady, Diane Nelson. She's since retired, but I was the only one to stand up, shake her hand, and just be incredibly humbled to be there and be able to interview with incredibly smart people. And so I got an internship, and a year and a half went by interning at Savant. I was doing operations. I mean, I was actually learning how to do databases at NIU and how to build out databases as part of the business program there. And I was doing database, work, portfolio management, behind the scenes at Savant. And so I was kind of like a numbers guy, but not like in the sense of being an accountant. I'm just like, we're bringing in downloads from like TD Ameritrade and Charles Schwab and Fidelity, these custodians that we use to custody our clients' monies. And I'm bringing it in, and I'm kind of building out behind the scenes. And I did that, and then I graduated from NIU, and I talked to my boss, David Bogner. He's no longer here at Savant, but great man. I just said, so should I keep working full time now? And they said, sure, go ahead. And so I started working 40 hours a week as an operations person, and really didn't understand too much about investments at that point in time. Didn't really understand financial planning. Certainly, Savant, what we do at Savant really isn't taught at NIU. There's actually curriculum now, financial planning curriculum at certain universities like Texas Tech and Illinois State, and places like that, but it wasn't at NIU. And so I started to learn about what financial planning was, which is completely different than learning about fixed income or markets, analyzing markets and CAPM and all these different things that you learn in college. And so I was doing operations, and really became good friends with a few others that intern at Savant, one of them being Jake Lesher, who's also a financial advisor here at Savant still. And he was, when he interned, he was actually interning in the planning department, and I was in operations. And so when we started working full time, I was seeing some of the work that he was doing, and I was transitioning into more of a trading role. So I was actually doing buys and sells and rebalancing our client portfolios in the operations department where trading was housed. And I said, wow, what you're doing seems really cool, and essentially he got promoted to a financial advisor after 3 years. And I said, can I take your spot? So I went, and coincidentally, Tawn Jacobs, who was originally talking to my mom, she ran that department here at Savant. So I talked to her, and she said, yeah, take Jake's spot. So for the next 5.5 years, all I did was financial planning. And I think it was at that moment that I decided, when I jumped from operations to financial planning, I was actually already studying for my certified financial planner designation when I was in operations, and really just loved the content. Like I love the idea of just being able to touch on so many different areas of someone's life, and it's always different. It's never the same. There's just so much that you can do with it. And I think it was at that moment. And then I started going into client meetings and doing presentations on retirement projections, life insurance analysis, estate planning, whatever it was. I was going in, and the advisors would bring me in, and they'd say, well, here's so-and-so client, Ryan's here today to present this one, this one financial planning presentation. And I did this for 5.5 years where I'd get to meet the clients. Then the one big thing that was, I loved it, of course, but the one thing that was a little bit I was missing was the ownership of that relationship, because I would work for thousands of clients, and nobody as a financial advisor can work for thousands of clients. It's just impossible. And so what there was an opening for a financial advisor role, and it was a difficult decision because you have the surety of financial planning, a salary. You kind of know what you know, and I took a leap of faith to go into financial, being a financial advisor, which is still financial planning, and but you have to learn about the markets now. You got to talk about in the investment portfolio, and you have to actually be the lead advisor, and you have to tell clients good news and bad news, and and there's a lot more pressure. You actually have to find new clients, right? You have a goal to go out and find new people to help, and so it was a little scary, but in working with the advisors for 5.5 years, being their kind of primary planner for some of our highest net worth clients in Rockford, they told me, go for it, man. Like you'll be good. You'll be fine. We've seen you with these clients in these rooms, over the last 5.5 years, you're going to be fine. So I jumped into it at that moment, and it's really been no turning back. I've been an advisor now for 9 years, with Savant 16. And I'm a team leader now. So I actually manage a group of people here at Savant, other advisors, which is really neat. I get to be an advocate for them. But I still get to work with my clients. So I kind of have the best of both worlds, and it's always different.
Wow. Congrats, man. That's a good story. And I'm glad you shared it with us.
All right. I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So Friday night, you got a babysitter till, let's say, midnight. Okay.
Wow.
You and your wife get dressed up. Where are you taking her to dinner?
Wow, so I'll just lean off of what we did most recently. I've had 2 places that I've gone, and now we didn't stay up till 12. But I went to Francesco's about a month and a half ago. Took actually some clients to dinner, and Bridget joined me. They're young professionals. I can't go into too many details,
Right.
confidentiality, but we just had a great time. It is the point, and the food was amazing. It was really good. But you pay for that food.
You do.
Francesco's isn't the cheapest place in town, and nor should they be. They provide a high quality venue. But then last weekend actually went over to Jimmy's place at Stone Eagle, and in Stone Eagle's good too. And we sat outside, took some clients out. Bridget joined me. We had a great time. And the one thing I'd mention about that venue being so much different, so much, in my opinion, just a little bit more casual, nice, is that Bridget and I got married at Cliff Breakers back before Cliff Breakers kind of started to, I think they're hopefully on the, heading upward now again, but they went through some hard times over the last, call it 12 plus years, I think. But before they did, it was a great venue. We had a wonderful wedding there. I think Jimmy might have owned it or operated it at one point, if I recall correctly. And
he did a lot of the food operations there. So for the venues, they ran the kitchen, they ran the restaurant there. That's how it was.
Okay. Yeah. So, but anyway, so I guess to answer your question, Josh, which, I'd say, just from experience the last couple months, one of those 2 places would be fine. But obviously, I also like G5. I think G5 is cool.
G5
Big
is an
G5.
underrated place.
Yeah.
Their chicken wings at G5 are.
I don't get
good.
there enough. I always forget to go there.
Same.
Yeah.
They're
kind of, it's a great location, but it's also one that you can forget because, it's just kind of off that service road, but it's a great location overlooking, up on a hill a little bit. Sitting outside, you got the fire pit out there, so it's nice.
Outdoor area.
I will tell you though, Ryan, you mentioned 2 of my most favorite places in town. So Benny over at Francesco's does a phenomenal job. And me and Venice will go sometimes and just sit in their bar area. They have a couple of spots where they got the comfortable chairs at a low table.
Yeah.
And we'll get a bottle of wine and we'll order a pizza and just sit there and just take in everything going on in the place. So you could go there and not have a real expensive night too. It doesn't have to be a crazy night, but if you go sit down in the dining room, the food is amazing. And Jimmy's is our go-to place. We go to Stone Eagle and sit outside for happy hour all the time. Like once it gets nice out, we can sit outside. The half-price appetizers, great drinks, the outdoors, and he gave me the idea with the shades. So I'm thinking about rigging up what he has on the outside for the sunshades on my back deck now. So he told me where I could buy. He told me where he ordered those shades from. So I'm looking into it for a residential setting now because those things are huge that he has there.
It's funny that you talk about Jimmy. My father-in-law actually met my mother-in-law while working for Jimmy, and I want to say it was Cafe Greco.
Oh,
I don't remember that name, but was
that's
that where
before my time in Rockford?
Was that where Joseph's was? Is that where Joseph's was?
The 80s?
I don't
Was
know.
that downtown?
I'm not sure where it was. They just talk about it all the time. And and my father-in-law worked for him for a very long time, so they're really close. We walk into Stone Eagle and Jimmy loses his mind when he sees my in-laws, and next thing you know, everything's at the table. He's sitting down next to us. It's a 3-hour ordeal.
Oh yeah.
So
Jimmy knows how to make friends and how to keep people coming back because he's just so hospitable. I mean, he just naturally enjoys people, and wants them to feel like, just like you explained, he wants you to feel like you're having a great experience.
And you were in a good restaurant if you're sitting somewhere and Jimmy's sitting there eating. That happened to us a few weeks back when we were recording one of these episodes. We went to Ernie's Midtown Pub,
and Jimmy was there,
and Jimmy's sitting at a table having lunch, and it was like, and it's like, all right, so it's good when the other restaurant owners go visit other restaurants.
Yeah.
So I know Josh over at Lucha Cantina. He goes every Monday to different restaurants. There's a group of restaurant owners that go to each other's restaurants and eat. And so I follow where they're going and say, all right, I'm going to stop there next. And whatever they recommend they tried, I order it because the chefs and the owners, they know the best food. They know the best places to go. So
they have to put a tracking device on those cars.
Yeah.
We should start a Twitter account.
Just follows them.
Where's Jimmy? Where's Jimmy? Question mark.
I do have one last question though for Ryan. Peanut or plain M&Ms?
Peanut, because you get a little bit of extra healthiness there.
No.
Plain.
Yes.
Plain.
I'm telling you guys. All right.
Plain M&Ms.
And we're not calling anybody out, but Shogun or JMK Nippons?
Oh yes.
I've been to JMK way more times, and I'll admit my family loves going. We try to go for birthdays. But I'll say Shogun, and here's why. I have a client, but he's becoming a good friend. He's been to sushi restaurants in Chicago. One of his things is going to like 5-star restaurants in Chicago, and he had said that Shogun's sashimi and their sushi was as good as any restaurant in Chicago. And when he told me that, and again, I don't have much experience comparing against Chicago restaurants, but when he told me that, I have to go with Shogun then. And he's taken me to lunch a couple times, and I've had it. I've had sashimi there. I've had their sushi, and it's very good. Now, I'm not a connoisseur of food, so I couldn't tell you how much better was it than JMK, but it's good.
Well, so what we're learning is that if you want amazing sushi, go to Shogun. If you want an amazing atmosphere and time, go to JMK.
I would agree with that. I think that's true.
Also, I want to commend that everything we've talked about has been local. Not one chain place.
Well, you're talking.
Good to hear.
You're talking to somebody that doesn't get around very often, so that's helpful too.
Well, you know what though? I agree with that. If I'm going to go out and spend money, I want to go put it back into local business because, every dollar you spend with a local company, like 70 cents of that stays in our community. But when you spend the dollar at a chain, not to say the chains don't have their purpose, but 20 cents of that dollar stays in your local community. So, which one benefits where you live more. That's how I look at it. So
Yep.
chains have their place, and I love going to a Chili's. You know what I mean? I like going there and getting their Presidente Margarita and the Big Bite burgers, or you know what I mean, their old timer. It's not a bad meal, but it's the same anywhere you go. But spending money with local businesses, I just personally, that's my preference.
Agreed.
Well, that you kind of form habits around, some of those too. Like, a Saturday morning for me, literally sometimes is like budgeting the checkbook. And then I go to A1 Dry Cleaners right in Roscoe by the McDonald's, behind Mobile. They're attached to Mobile. From there, I go to the USPS because I'm still a guy that writes checks. So I go and get my stamps. From there, I'll go to First National or Stillman Bank to either, get some money out for the weekend, or I might pay my mortgage. So it's, like it's like a little routine. And then lately I've been going to, what is it, Jerry's Auto Parts on the service road there. I've had to get I don't think anyone's ever had to get 3 light bulbs in a row for their car. Like literally 3 have burned out like within a month's period of time. So I've been to Jerry's like 3 times. And the last time I walked in, he goes, did one of the light bulbs break? I'm like, no, it's just, another one on the car. I need a new one. So.
And Jerry's is amazing. Like they have everything, or they'll have it within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And they know
always had everything. Well, that and then lately Roscoe, I think it's called Roscoe Pack and Mail. Like, why never really think to go in there because I don't ship anything, but they take your payment for the sticker on your license plate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, we got a great community here in the State Line anyway, and we got all these great amenities all the time. Which that's going to segue into what's going on this weekend in the State Line. So, Josh, do you have anything for us?
Yesterday when we were at our chamber board meeting, our treasurer works for a local bank here, Rockford Community Bank, and they are having a shred event. I believe it's from 10 to noon, right, George?
10 to noon on Saturday.
Yep. Awesome. So bring all your paper to shred.
Bring all your shred stuff. And then on Tuesday, next week, Tuesday. So this is airing Friday. So tomorrow's the shred event. Then on Tuesday is their 1-year anniversary. They're having a huge party at the branch location as well. And I'm going to go ahead and call him out, Brent Scott. So if you go to the shred event, you guys have to say hi to Brent Scott and say that we sent you. Definitely.
Yeah, and we will not hold the fact that he's a Mizzou guy.
Yeah, he's the Mizzou guy.
He's the guy with the Mizzou license plate. Yes.
Yep, this is true. And he's a Cub fan.
And he's a Cub fan. I know, which I know we can't all be perfect, but be Mets fans. But even George did well with the Mets this past week, so I'm not going to complain. He we'll talk about that off the air, Ryan. But I got to tell you a story about George.
I'm all ears.
I'm going to tell you guys though. We were talking about Benny and we were talking about Francesco's. Well, this weekend, today that we're airing this, Anderson Japanese Gardens reopens. Benny's at the Garden. You get breakfast and lunch. They're open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. starting on Friday. Today, $11 for adults, $10 for seniors age 62 and older, $9 for students, and free for members or children under the age of 5. So the gardens are open. Get out there, walk around, and I will tell you, Benny's has one of the best brunches I've had in town. Love that place for brunch. We also have the Rockford Spring Art Scene going on, 5 to 9 tonight and 4 to 9 on Saturday. There's several downtown locations. You go to artforeveryone.com to find out what's happening and which venues are holding art. And of course, the Sky Carp are playing this weekend.
And the weather's supposed to be nice this weekend, so
it is
some spring cleanup.
They're playing 6:35 tonight on Friday. They're playing 3:05 on Saturday and 1:05 on Sunday. So
I think it's supposed to be like 45 degrees out.
Yeah.
But
fire pit,
sunny.
red wine, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but no rain. Okay, so maybe it's not gonna be nice. It's gonna be dry out, so I can get some yard work done and spring cleanup.
So that's just a few things I got here for what's going on. But there's one more thing I want to throw a plug for a local business and a good friend of mine, Skylar, over at Culture Shock. The 16th annual Record Store Day is going to happen Saturday from 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock at Culture Shock at 2239 Charles Street in Rockford. It is free to attend. And if you like vinyl, they've got so much vinyl. If you want to get into vinyl and you don't have a record player anymore, you want to learn how to get a turntable, get a system, he could help you build something that'll be affordable and get you the quality you want. So check it out. Talk to Skylar there. Great place. I've known him for years, and that's where I get my records. That's all I got for you guys.
Yeah, it's good. We're starting to get into the busy season where things pick up around the state line, where it's not like stay home, it's freezing out. So I'm pretty excited for it, ready for the summer, ready to enjoy weekends again outdoors. 100%.
Yes.
Also, any of you, like we said before, if you are looking for any financial needs, just simply any questions, right? Reach out to Ryan at Savant. He will take great care of you. Even mention that you heard him on, Repping the State Line with John, George, and Josh. He would love to hear that plug from you. So, John, I know you like to finish it off with our podcast.
Wait, I got one more thing. So next week we will not be airing an episode. I want to give you guys a warning this time.
No, what's going on?
We just have conflicting schedules, and
we have a lot of conflicting schedules. So we will be back
out of town
2 weeks on
2 weeks
Cinco de Mayo with a special treat
episode.
for you
Be
guys.
ready. It's going to be a fun one for sure. So thanks y'all for listening. Thanks again, Ryan, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
One more thing, guys. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't ask if I had one more thing to mention.
Do you have one more thing?
I want, sometimes, repping the state lines, you guys need to grow your audience for the stay-at-home mothers, because they're really the ones that are probably using a lot of the facilities that we have around the state line area. So I just want to give a plug to the stay-at-home moms, because their job is tougher than a lot of our jobs. We get to go out and network and talk with people, and we get pats on the back when we do a good job. Stay-at-home moms, sometimes it's feels like failure after failure after failure until they finally get a win. So, their job is tough. They deserve our respect. So for all the stay-at-home moms out there, you should listen to the Repping the State Line, because not only is it going to give you some laughs throughout your day, much needed, especially after a difficult day, if you're managing kids especially. So you need that laugh. You need something to enjoy and look forward to. So watch Repping the State Lines, because you will definitely get that here. And thank you for all you do, all the hard work. Especially my wife.
Ryan.
That's a good idea. Maybe we should throw a Repping the State Line stay-at-home
mom appreciation event.
Yes.
All right, Ryan, you're going to help us with this.
Maybe we could.
I know a stay-at-home mom that would love to do that.
Hey, we could partner with a local coffee place, and they could pick up coffee maybe from a certain time. For moms.
Yep.
Ooh, we're brewing some ideas.
Mother's Day is coming. Yes.
Mother's Day is coming. And
But,
don't forget, you
also-
forgot to plug. What's coming up for Mother's Day, John?
Mother's Day, we have our purse project.
Boom! Don't forget about it.
So again, guys, we did our purse project sort day the other day. We went through our purses. Free.
I dropped off 3.
I know. Well, I got your purses. I want to thank the State Line community, because my goal, I was hoping to hit 100 purses. I've got well over that. And they're amazing purses. We had some of them though, I don't know, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but it's wait, is this a real Prada purse, or is this a fake Prada purse? Is this a real Coach, or is it fake? Because some of us don't know. And I mean, you got a bunch of guys sorting them out, so we don't know. So there's some decent stuff we've found in there. We got a lot of product. Our event is happening on Wednesday next week. All right, this is another reason why we have no episode next week. We have just too much going on. I'm out of town 2 days. You guys are traveling. Work's crazy, but we have this event 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Hotel Goodwin, the rooftop bar. Bring a purse and come in. Help us pack purses with product. Have some appetizers. Bring a purse for free admission, or it's $20 at the door. It's open to anyone that wants to network with business people in our community. So come on out. I would love to see you. And if you're not one of the business people and you just heard it on the podcast, find me and say, hey, I heard this on Repping the State Line. Here's our donation. I'd love to meet you in person. So thank you for that. Ryan, do you have something else?
We already did the one more thing.
No? Okay, well,
Yeah,
no,
he already
he
did
had
it.
his hand up. So I thought he had something else for me. With that, thank you again for listening to Repping the State Line podcast with John, George, and Josh. Please
See you in
follow
2
us.
weeks.
Please follow us on wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. You find this on Selling the State Line at Home with George, the Mortgage Dad. What is the name of your YouTube channel, George? The Mortgage Dad on YouTube, or Selling the State Line. You'll find us where you listen to podcasts. So that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music. We're everywhere. If you ask Alexa to play us, they'll play us. Do the podcasty things while you're there, or the YouTubey things, and like, share, and subscribe. And until that, we will all see you on Cinco de Mayo. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you, Ryan, for being here.
Deuces.